you will definitely need to manage your money so that you can prevent the cash leak. And here are the 10 habits I use on a daily basis that saved me my first $1,000. When I try to cook food on a daily basis, I tend to get lazy. When I get lazy, I either go for a takeout or order a delivery. I started creating a weekly meal prep. I cook my food on Saturdays or Sunday for the whole week. The basic idea of this is the first 3 days of food you can keep it on normal refrigerator. For the rest of the 3 days you will need to freeze it at minus 18 degrees Celsius so that the bacteria does not start growing. And you will also need an airtight container, preferably the glass one because plastic one has microplastics. I would recommend you to create a 4 or 5 recipe that you can rinse and repeat so that you don't get bored, and second thing, you don't get nutrient deficiency. Because when we buy a perishable item, either it gets expired or we force feed ourselves. Suppose I bought a cabbage. Now what happens is this cabbage will start rotting in 3 or 4 days. I don't plan on eating a total 4 or 5 cabbage, but if I don't eat this will go bad. What this will do is I will eat unnecessary calorie. I will stuff my stomach with the food that I don't actually want to eat. I wasted my money on this product. I had total 8 tetra packs of milk. The total expiry date was of September. 1 or 2 tetra pack had the expiry date of this month. I was able to consume them because I always check my refrigerator or my stocks for the food that I have. Suppose if some food is going to expire, or suppose there is some food that I can cook, then I will first cook that food before it goes to expire, and only after cooking them I will go out to buy something new. So when I go out to buy the cabbage, there are roughly 2 malls and roughly 10 local stores. I tend to go on every single one of them. That takes me roughly 1 and 2 hours. That is a bad idea because time also has a monetary value, and we need to know the time I am using for getting a discount on this product. Is it worth the actual time I am wasting? And most of the time the answer is no. For a few bucks it is not worth it to go to every single damn store. Only buy it if you know that you are going to use it without forcing yourself before the expiry date. Because if you don't, you are basically just throwing your cash in the garbage. Sometimes it happens that the perishable item in a single unit is 2 times, maybe even 3 times costlier than if you buy it in bulk. If situation like this occurs, I buy the product and I sell it to my neighbor that I got it at this price. I will take 1 piece, you take the 2 piece. Why spend $5 on buying a coffee that I can just make for $1 at home? Plus it also takes less time. Just think about it. I am making a coffee at home. It costs $1. It takes 5 minutes to make, whereas if I go for a takeout or even order a delivery, it will take roughly 30 minutes or maybe 45 minutes. It will cost maybe $5, maybe $6. It's just not worth it. Plus that will be much more calorie compared to the homemade version. I was binge eating for more than 2 or 3 weeks and it costed me roughly $400, which would have not happened if I had just set the schedule of yes, I can allow myself to eat for maybe $4 or $5 every 3 days. I always went for shopping whenever I was feeling bored, and that is a bad idea because that drains your bank balance very fast. I set some rules to prevent that, but still you will also need to be mindful that you are not shopping just because of impulse. You are not shopping because you are feeling bored. You are only shopping because you know you need the item. If you are feeling bored, invest in some hobbies like reading. I go for cycling or weightlifting, calisthenics, boxing. There are a lot of hobbies. Just choose one. Some of the tricks that actually help me control my impulse purchase. I removed all the credit cards from any online platform, from the Google accounts, from the Amazon page, from any e-commerce platform that I use. When I want to buy a product, I will need to type the card details myself. That prevents me from buying the product. Second thing I did was I implemented the 48-hour rule. You add the product you want into the cart, but you wait for 48 hours before ordering the product. Most of the time, after 48 hours, I don't see any value in buying that product. The third thing I did was I stopped ordering anything in the morning because morning is the time when your impulse control is at its lowest. Don't order anything in the morning because most likely you won't be able to control your impulses. My schedule is pretty much a same repeating order. Like I wake up, I go to the gym, I come back from gym, I eat the food, I work on the video, I upload the video, I work on my project, and I sleep. That's all. It just repeats 24/7 and 7 days a week. Yes, it tends to get boring, but it works most of the time. I also added some variety here and there to let myself enjoy. So earlier, I used to use a hand cream, a hair cream, a normal moisturizer, a different hyaluronic acid, a salicylic acid, a niacinamide. What was that? I forgot. Maybe it was the face wash with niacinamide. You get the gist of it. I was using every single chemical that was coming in the market that will make my face good because my face value is very important. I searched on YouTube and I found that I only need retinol, hyaluronic acid, ceramide, sunscreen, and face wash. That's all. When I implemented this, I was able to reduce my cost by roughly $200. When I get a new product, I stop using the older version because I want to use a newer version as soon as possible, or I tend to use the older version in much more quantity so that I can finish it as soon as possible. That was a bad habit and I fixed it. If you genuinely want to get a good deal, do not go for luxury brand. By luxury brand, I mean do not go for the name of the brand. Go to the physical store, check the clothes side by side, you will know the difference. If you feel that yes, the quality of the luxury brand is actually good and it's not a placebo effect that you are just imagining, it is actually good, you can buy it if you are going to use it more than the cheaper product. If you cannot track your money, you cannot manage your money. You need to track every single penny you spend. But what happens is when we track our money like that, we sometimes fell into the guilt trap. You need to find a balance. For me, the best balance for this was to create a blow money. You have allocated a budget for just spending. You won't feel guilt if you spend that particular amount of money. Set up a sweep in deposit. As soon as the money arrives into your bank account, it will get swept into another account where it can get invested as per the rule you have set. By doing this, you are preventing yourself from wasting your money. If you hadn't set up the sweeping deposit, it can happen that as soon as the money comes, you see the number and you start going on a spending spree. When the amount you are using for sweeping is the actual amount you need for your living expense. In that case, it is much better to use the money for yourself, invest in yourself, because frugality has a mathematical limit. You can only cut so much before you actually start going into survival mode. If you make $2,000 and you need $2,000 to survive, but you put $200 into sweeping where it will get invested, now you only have left with $1,800. You need $2,000 to survive now. In this scenario, you will just go in survival mode with a lot of stress and that will damage your body. So a better situation would be, instead of trying to save every single penny, invest in yourself, learn something, monetize yourself, increase your value and increase your income. If you do that, you will be able to use the sweeping feature for investment. You will also have your essential living costs and your fun money as well. If suppose some emergency happens, in that case, stop all your investment and just focus on your four walls of survival, that is food, shelter, utilities and transportation. You can actually prepare for this severe financial emergency. I have talked about this in next video, but let me just give you a brief idea. You will need your hedge fund, you will need your equity portfolio, you will need ETF, you will need emergency fund, you will need health insurance and things like that. You will learn many more things about managing your money and investing your money. I have talked about everything I did when I got my first $1,000, how I managed it and how I invested it. So yeah, that's it for this video. Let's meet in the next video. Bye bye.